Hey everyone, welcome to Reading Crossbow. My name is Lana, and I'm here today with my buddy Rob.
Hello, everyone, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we have to read this month.
Yes, we have some good ones, and we're coming off, I would say, kind of a somewhat difficult month on read picks. Not for ourselves. I liked the book I picked, you liked the book you picked, but we weren't the biggest fans of each other's picks.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair, but um, maybe this month will be a good change.
It happens. It happens. It's happened before. We discussed our S tier list last time. You guys can go back and check out that episode. We'll bring it up in future episodes as well. But we have some books that are kind of lining in that neutral zone, and I'm hopeful for this month's book. So this month, let's just go straight into it. I picked a book from one of my newly favorite authors. I Newly favorite sounds weird. From an author I've just recently started reading in the last 2 years and really, really enjoy her. So
Okay.
this is Leigh Bardugo, and you might recognize this name from Netflix's very, very popular Shadow and Bone series.
Oh,
Have you watched that?
I have not, but I know of it.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to get into this book here in just a minute and why I picked it, but I want to talk about Leigh Bardugo. Because the Shadow and Bone series is up there. We've talked a lot about magic systems and what we love about magic. So I'm hopeful for this book because she writes a magic system that I really enjoy. So my top magic system is Mistborn, Brandon Sanderson. I really love that magic system. And then it's top five, I want to say, because she writes an entire verse. So it's not just the Shadow and Bone series. She also has a couple others in this series, and they're all part of what she calls the Grishaverse. So there's the Six of Crows duology, and there's the King of Scars duology, and all the characters are in the same universe. They occasionally, overflow and interact, but they're not always in the same books at the same time. And the Grisha verse is pretty fantastic. So instead of calling them mages, they're Grisha. I'm not going to go too much into this, but they do what can be done in a lot of other magic books where they can wield powers from the elements. So there's wind wielders, water wielders. There's some who can wield like the human body, sort of like health, but instead they can affect like the heart. They're called heart renders, I believe. It's been a while.
Okay.
And then those who can control shadows and lights, kind of like we've seen in other books. But she does it very, very well. And magic has a cap, and magic has its limits on its resources, and so I've just been a fan of what she's done with her magic systems. So,
And is this book in the same setting?
no, it's not. So completely different. So it's not in the Grishaverse. So that's why I picked it. So this is a brand new release. We both actually just got this today. Now this episode will come out a bit later. So we're talking, for you guys, we're talking about it in retrospect. When you watch this, we'll say it's coming out today, but it's been a bit. But so we just got this, landed on each of our doorsteps, and I noticed, I think my kids or my dog got mine. It's covered in goo already. I mean, that's what I get. But this is interesting because the last book I picked was The Last Magician, and I got excited about that one because it's somewhat of a period piece. It's largely set in the Gilded Age of New York, and I did not mean to put these back to back. I promise, kind of like we've had a lot of time travel. Well, now I'm putting us in period piece genres
Okay.
because this is a period piece.
Which period?
But this is the Spanish Golden Age.
Okay.
So it will probably feel somewhat similar to the Gilded Age in terms of style and setting, I'm guessing. But I don't know when the Spanish Golden Age was. But
Well, I think that would be.
cover,
I mean, for me, I would expect that would be like during the golden age of piracy, because that's when all the gold from the Americas was coming into Spain, and just they had money galore.
it could be. I really don't know. This is what happened. This is how I picked this book. I saw Leigh Bardugo was writing a book. I saw it was upcoming for 2024. I've had this on my pre-order list since I found out about it. It's been on my pre-order list on Amazon for months. Months and months. I was so excited to put this on our reading list. And it has magic, but it has magic in a way where there's also magic says where the lines between magic, science, and fraud are never certain. So it looks like they get into alchemy quite a bit. It looks like there might be some interesting. I said this on a couple books ago. I thought it was going to happen, and it didn't. Maybe some sort of psychic abilities, even unsure. But we have a female lead in the Spanish Golden Age, and she has to help Spain's king, who needs advantage in the war against England's heretic queen.
Really interesting. This is
Interesting.
Historical fiction is definitely your jam, at least lately.
It hasn't been, yeah. So apparently, as she helps this king and how he uses her gifts, it sounds like she has gifts. I'm gonna guess this is magic to aid him in this war against England. It says her notoriety grows. So does the danger that her Jewish blood will doom her to the Inquisition's wrath. So there's also some, religious background in here as well. So I'm excited about another period piece. I wish I would have maybe spaced them apart, but this is just the way it happened, Rob. I had no idea. Last Magician, written 6 years ago. This book came out this month. So The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo.
Okay. I'm very curious. Magic in the real world is always interesting. How it gets handled, how it's explained, whether it's explained as most people don't understand it, or it's a hidden thing, or is this going to be like an alternate reality, kind of like the Last Magician, where this is just a different world, very, very similar to our own. So yeah, I'm curious.
Absolutely. And, we're picky about magic. I actually had a discussion with a coworker today. I might bring this up in another episode. I don't have it all in front of me, but he's a writer, and he's written out rules for magic, and has like 8 or 9 rules about it. But loosely translating from my own rules, I like magic to have, very strict rules around it. I like it to be able to be sourced from something. I like it to be able to run out if possible. You should explain where magic comes from. Is it from some divinity? Is it from an elemental magic? Is it from sourced from glyphs or runes, things like that. And so there's just a lot of ways magic can go wrong in books, and we've seen it go wrong. And so I'm just hopeful, because I thought the Grishaverse was done pretty darn well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm hopeful too. We actually haven't had really much what I would consider good magic systems so far. So I'm excited. If this is a trusted author, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix liked her, right? Everything Netflix makes is great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. All right. So I have your book here. Why don't you tell me about this one?
Okay, so I had originally planned on a different book. It actually came out the same day as your book. But as I was kind of looking around for a future book, I saw some mention of a Queen of Grimdark. And that piqued my interest. And I was like, well, who's this Queen of Grimdark? And as I started researching more about this author, she's been compared extremely favorably to George R.R. Martin, Michael Moorcock. I think here in the book, I think even Joe Abercrombie, she was referenced very favorably with him. And those are some of my favorite authors. So the book I chose this month is Sword of Bronze and Ashes by Anna Smith Spark. This is not her first book. This book was a bit of a challenge to buy, though. It is a small press in the UK. So you can just order it on Amazon. But I tried to buy one locally, and the bookstore told me, sorry, we can't order it. Probably just because they don't have a distribution relationship. So I had to get it online, but I did find that you can order it directly from Flame Tree Press. You just go to their website. They have softback and hardback, and then you're directly supporting the writer. Whereas the copy I got off Amazon, I think is used. So that's probably not as supportive, but I didn't realize how tough this was. I just ordered the hardcover, and then I realized after the fact that it was a used copy. But
yeah, and we both know how much I love hardcovers. And I also had to order this on Amazon because there was no way I'd get it in time for our podcast, because ordering it was going to take weeks. And so I actually got a new copy on Amazon, and I got it in 2 days. But yeah. If I love this book, I will have to order the hard copy.
Yeah. So to tell you a little bit about this book, the front describes it as a lyrical, poetic, folk horror fantasy. Lyrical and poetic does make me a bit nervous. I'll be honest. But folk horror fantasy sounds great. But as far as the premise of the book, from the book jacket, it says that the main character is a farm housewife. She's raised her kids, is married, happily married, and then fantastical monsters start coming. And it turns out she's like a retired, like, super warrior. That she had just retired to the countryside, and her family had no idea that she's this, renowned, legendary hero. Though a bit out of practice.
That's kind of badass. I just read the last sentence, Rob. Mother and daughters will stand together, bright swords fighting against unimaginable horrors. I'm so excited for this.
So, I'm now, as far as the magic or mythology, I did see a little bit saying that this might be Celtic or Welsh mythology based, but I don't know that for sure. That's not actually on the jacket cover. But I did see that somewhere, that it was kind of Welsh or Celtic lore or mythology. So I'm kind of excited about this one. I think the cover's amazing. I like that. I like that art.
Yeah, I was going to comment on the cover too. I think the cover's pretty great. It's simple. It's simple in terms of like art, like there's no color. It's like pencils and ink. But if you look closely, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. So that was my pick of the month. As soon as I kind of heard about this Queen of Grimdark, which I guess is her Twitter handle as well.
Oh. Neat.
That I was like, I need, and I found out that she's written a book recently. I was like, well, we got to read that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have a good feeling this month. Yours seems strong. I like the idea. We pick female protagonists a lot, by the way. More than we pick male protagonists. But I like the idea that like she's this retired badass. It makes me think of like a Wonder Woman if she were to have gone on, and maybe she has in one of the universes she's in. Actually, she has. And so like, what does that look like? So interesting. I know it's not the same thing, but yeah. I like that idea. And then mine, again, a period piece, but these period pieces are interesting. We've actually even The Tainted Cup was a period piece. So
and of sorts, yeah.
Of sorts, right? Where these are direct period pieces because they're happening in today's time, right? We have The Last Magician, which is New York, in the 1900s, and then we have The Familiar, which is the Spanish Golden Age. So bit more on the nose these last two, but yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, I'm excited to read these books. You have a good history with with one author, and the other one is actually favorably compared to a lot of my favorite authors. So I'm excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, I will say I did peek at them briefly. And no maps. So this will make it the last map we had was The Last Magician. So we had no map with the Warhammer book, and then now 2 books in a row, no map. So I have to see if my next book recommendation has a map. And if it doesn't, then you need to come through for me.
The reason why I went to the local shop was I was really wanting to check out the book to see if there was a map before I ordered it. And they were like, sorry, pound sand. We can't order this. And so I was like, well, screw it. I'll just order it anyway. And and take my chance. And yeah, there's no map, but I'm really going to try to make sure the next one has a map.
Yeah, we got to find some. But great cover art, and sometimes that's redeeming, like how much I loved Starter Villain's cover. So, you know what? A little bit of merit for great covers, too. So this one's pretty cool. But that wraps up this month, right?
Yep. And we will see you next week. I will be doing my midpoint review on The Familiar. And I'll be happy to report on how much I like or loathe this book.
I think you'll like it. But having that said, we got 1 new subscriber since our last episode. That's a big deal to us, even saying 1 more new one. So to all of you who watch our videos and like our videos, thank you so much. But to those of you who actually hit the subscribe button, really thank you a ton. So make sure to do that and join us next week for Rob's Halfway. See you soon.